Hi, I'm Amy Cawvey with Watch Kansas. Going to do a few shows here to kind of bring out the conservative voice in education and want to get your thoughts on it and kind of give you mine. I'm running for Lansing School Board in Lansing, Kansas. And this race has been a little bit interesting. It's been controversial. There's a lot of other parents across the country that are also running for school board. Parents are just tired of putting up with the indoctrination of our children in education. They're tired with seeing CRT brought into the schools. They are worried that CRT might be brought into the schools. They're tired of their kids being forced to wear masks. They don't want their kids to be forced to receive vaccines that they may not want their child to receive. They were tired of remote learning being forced on them. They were tired of everyone basically telling them what to do and their liberties being taken away as parents and as children when COVID hit. So after all of that happened, I decided to run for school board, and I know that I represent a lot of voices out there. I'm just going to kind of give you an update on what's going on with my race right now, and we'll get into other issues in the weeks to come. So right now, I decided to run back this spring for school board. My platform included several different areas, including fiscal responsibility of the board, not increasing taxes because funding has increased over the last 10 years, while the school performance of our students has either remained flat or decreased. So what we need is better allocation at the school board level of those funds. We need to look into the curriculum. We need to look into retaining better teachers, several different areas, but also COVID. We need to make sure that our kids stay back in school. We know how much fun that was for parents not to have them in school. And I say that jokingly because a lot of people, when we voice our opposition against our kids being forced to remote learn, they make snide comments like, "Oh, you didn't want to lose your babysitter." Parents just were upset that they had to actually teach their kids. Very condescending tones when that's not at all what we were upset about. We knew our children needed the socialization, to be with their friends. They're kinesthetic learners. They needed to be in school, hands-on learning. And to have that attitude is very dismissive. And that's where part of the separation, I think, started with parents and their school boards. And they also got an opportunity to see some of the lessons that were being presented to their children, and they weren't happy with it. And over the last 2 years, critical race theory has also been forced on children across the country. And then with the current administration, they would like to increase critical race theory in our schools across the country. They at first wanted to tie funding to that. And of course, most school districts want to receive additional funding, so they'd be ready to jump through hoops to get that. But that included adding critical race theory to the curriculum. So parents have already started fighting back. They've made groups. Moms for Liberty is one. They've decided to run for school board in their local districts. They went to school board meetings and spoke up. And that's kind of what we're doing here. I'm running with 2 other candidates. We each have our own campaign, obviously, but we're running for 3 seats here in Lansing, and we're the 3 conservatives trying to get those seats. We want to be a voice for you parents. So we want to stand up to the school board. It's not okay to force masks on our children. It's not okay to force vaccines. It's not okay to force CRT. And our parental rights do not stop at the door when we drop our kids off. So basically, those are some things we'll talk about each day, and hopefully you can email me with your concerns or message me, and we can address those. But right now, one of the biggest issues, of course, is masks. And most school board meetings waited until their last school board meeting before the start of school for the 2021-22 year. And unfortunately, in a lot of states, unless they were lucky enough to have a governor where they are not letting schools mandate masks, a lot of the local districts had masks mandated on their kids once again. Something we were hoping was behind us, but as we know, once your liberty is encroached upon, then it often is again later. So we had a school board meeting in Lansing, and I'm not sure how many of you had the same thing happen to you, but parents spoke passionately to the school board about how they did not want their kids masked. They wanted the choice to be left up to the parent. And there were other parents and teachers and administrators that wanted the opposite. But bottom line, it came down to our county commissioners sent a letter to the school board, said that the county gating criteria and county gating suggestions and CDC suggestions on mask wearing are suggestions. That's it. They are not mandates. The schools are able to make their own choices on whether to mandate masks, whether to mandate vaccines, and also on their gating criteria. One of the big arguments was if one child is sitting next to another child and one of those children do not have a mask on, and one of the children is positive for COVID, that the other children all have to quarantine. But that is not clearly stated by the county, at least not in our county of Leavenworth. And in Kansas, we had SB 40 passed last year that gave that control back to the school districts. And for right now, that is kind of in limbo. It's being tied up in court. So it reverts back to the law before that, which still the school districts have the choice to decide on whether to require masks and whether a child is quarantined. The county health department is not mandating these quarantines of children that were just exposed. So the school board and the superintendent pretty much put that out, that we just want to keep kids in school. If one child's exposed, they don't have a mask, they have to quarantine for 10 days. But that is something that the school district could decide on their own what their quarantine procedures are. Usually quarantine is for the sick, not for the child that just happened to be exposed. So basically what we want is, and if we are elected, we want to give that choice back to the parents. We know that parents are smart enough to be able to decide for their child and listen to their child on whether they want to wear the mask or not. We're not saying you can't wear them. Kids want to wear them, that's great. If teachers want to wear them, that's great. But if they don't, they should also be afforded that decision and that liberty to decide. And the same goes for vaccinations. They should be able to decide on both. So that's kind of where we're at today. And I'm going to be kicking around some different ideas in the future. So if you want, give me an email at amycawvey@icloud.com. Let me know what you're concerned about, or give me a call or a text. Have a good day.